Strap in, folks. We're going on a journey back in time. But don't worry, you don't need a time machine, just a strong stomach. Imagine it's the year 1423. The air smells like, well, bad hygiene and regret. You've got peasants arguing over a loaf of bread, a bard singing an off-key tune in the square, and suddenly someone shouts, "Thief!" The next thing you know, poor Jeffrey is being dragged to the town center for some good old-fashioned public humiliation. This isn't the kind of drama you live stream. It's the kind where everyone in the village grabs a tomato and makes an event out of your misery. Why did I get out of bed today? Today we're counting down the top 10 worst torture methods in human history. Spoiler alert, it's gonna get rough. If you're squeamish about paper cuts, maybe grab a snack and brace yourself. BTW, if you know someone who can't even handle the dentist chair, drop their name in the comments. No judgment, just science. The brutal top 10 torture 10. The pillory. Time period 1500s to 1700s, Western Europe. Welcome to the 16th century, where gossip wasn't spread on Facebook. It was screamed in public while some poor soul got locked in the pillory for stealing a chicken. The pillory was basically an ancient shame machine. They'd lock you in this contraption with your head and hands trapped, like a really bad group photo gone wrong. And the whole town would gather to watch and, well, humiliate you. This wasn't just punishment. It was entertainment. Imagine being forced into this awkward wooden frame while your neighbors hurled insults and worse, rotten vegetables. And let's be real, the odds of someone aiming right for your face? Extremely high. Oh, and if you think you could just power through it, remember, it didn't matter if it was 100 degrees outside or pouring rain. You were stuck there, marinating in your own bad decisions. 9. The ducking stool. Time period 16th to 17th century. England and colonial America. Region. Often used during witch trials in places like Salem, Massachusetts. All right, folks, this one's a classic case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. The ducking stool was a device used during witch trials and was basically a medieval dunk tank, but without the fairground fun. Accused of being a witch? No problem. They'd strap you to a chair, dunk you in a river, and wait to see if you floated. If you sank, congrats. You were innocent. Too bad you didn't survive to enjoy it. Wait, so I don't win if I drown. Number 8. Rat torture. Time period 1500s, South America and Europe. Now, if you thought rodents were just a pest problem, history's here to remind you they were also a torture method. Used by both European interrogators and South American conquistadors, rat torture was exactly as horrifying as it sounds. Here's how it worked. They'd place a metal container filled with live rats onto the victim's stomach or chest, then heat the container. As the rats panicked from the heat, they did the only thing they knew how to do: dig their way out, through you. Ever seen someone scream because a mouse ran across the floor? Yeah, imagine that mouse being inside your hoodie. Now crank that up to 11. Or 7. The Judas Cradle. Time period 16th century, Italy and Spain. Oh look, a chair. Nope, wrong again. The Judas Cradle was a device designed to prove that sitting isn't always relaxing. The victim was tied up and slowly lowered onto a pointy wooden pyramid. And gravity? Oh, gravity was not your friend. Number 6. The Iron Maiden. Time period late 18th century, Germany. Despite what heavy metal bands might have you believe, the Iron Maiden wasn't about shredding guitars, it was about shredding dignity. The victim was locked inside a human-shaped coffin lined with spikes, and the door was slammed shut. Some historians say this device was more of a legend than reality, but real or not, it's terrifying enough to make the list. Number 5. The Pear of Anguish. Time period 1600s, France and Italy. Why does something called the pear sound like an innocent fruit snack? Well, this was no ordinary pear. It was a metal device that could be cranked open inside the mouth, or worse, tearing everything in its path. The only thing this has in common with actual pears is that they're both hard to swallow. Number 4. The rack. Time period, 13th to 17th century Europe. The rack, the medieval version of a full-body stretch, but with way more screaming. They tie your limbs and slowly turn the rollers, pulling your arms and legs in opposite directions until your joints dislocated. If that doesn't make you appreciate modern physical therapy, I don't know what will. Number 3. Scaphism. Time period, 5th century BCE, Persian Empire. Leave it to the Persians to invent something both terrifying and oddly specific. Scaphism was basically turning you into a bug buffet. They'd smear honey all over you and let the insects feast. Days would pass, and the bugs would keep snacking. And yes, it was as slow and painful as it sounds. Number 2. Flaying. Time period, 9th century BCE, 1600s. Flaying wasn't just torture, it was a process. They'd peel the skin off the victim in strips, often while keeping them alive for as long as possible. The Assyrians were particularly skilled at this, treating it like a gruesome art form. And if that doesn't make you appreciate your skincare routine, nothing will. Number 1. Impalement. Time period, 15th century, Eastern Europe. Impalement was the pièce de résistance of brutal punishments, and nobody did it like Vlad the Impaler. The victim was placed on a giant wooden stake, and gravity did the rest. This wasn't just punishment, it was a message. A very long, painful message. After hearing all that, you have to ask, how did anyone survive history? It's a miracle humanity didn't call it quits. But here we are in 2025 with air conditioning, Netflix, and zero chance of being strapped to the rack. Life's good. So the next time your Wi-Fi goes out or your coffee order's wrong, remember, at least you're not strapped to the Judas cradle. That's the real win. And don't forget to subscribe. All right, that's it for today's history lesson. If you survive this list, drop a yikes in the comments. And hey, hug your couch today. It deserves it.